In the opening scene, a young woman is fleeing from someone or something. She drives to the beach and calls her father, apologizing for being unkind to him. The next morning, it's shown that she was brutally murdered during the night, her leg twisted with a bone sticking out. The film then switches to J. Maika Monroe, who is on a date with Hugh Jaquerie at the movies. While waiting in line, Hugh talks about how envious he is of young children and their innocent, carefree lives. Inside the theater, Hugh spots a young woman at the entrance and points her out to Jay, but she cannot see her. Hugh becomes afraid and insists they leave the theater. On their next date, Jay and Hugh have sex in his car, but Hugh suddenly chloroforms her. When Jay awakens, she is tied to a wheelchair. Hugh explains that he passed a curse to her through sex. Hugh spots a naked woman walking towards them. Jay and Hugh flee, and Hugh drops Jay off at home before continuing to flee. The police search for Hugh, but cannot find him. At school, Jay spots an old woman in a hospital gown walking towards her. No one else notices the old woman. That night, Jay, Paul, Kelly, and another friend, Yara Olivia Lucardi, spend the night in the same house. During the night, Paul hears a noise and investigates a smashed window in the kitchen. He doesn't see anyone. Jay then sees an almost naked woman with dark eyes walking towards her. She runs to tell the others, but none of them can see anything. Suddenly, a tall man with dark eyes walks into the room, and Jay runs out of the house. Jay runs to a nearby playground where her friends catch up to her. A neighbor named Greg Daniel Zovato offers to help by giving them a ride. The group plans to confront Hugh, and after tracking him down at his real address, he insists on his original story, telling Jay she needs to sleep with someone to pass the curse on. The group goes back to Greg's house. Jay deduces she needs to learn how to use a gun. While sitting by the water, the entity takes on the appearance of Yara and begins to attack Jay. Jay flees, and the entity changes into the tall old man and then Paul. Jay manages to shoot it, but it doesn't die. She gets into a car and drives away, but crashes into a cornfield. When Jay awakens, she's in the hospital being treated for a broken arm. Before being released, she decides to pass the curse on by sleeping with Greg in her hospital bed, hoping to pass the curse to him. The next morning, Jay is near a beach and spots 3 young men on a boat. She undresses and goes into the water. Back at home, Paul wants to sleep with Jay, but she rebuffs him, not wanting him to be killed. Jay spots the entity, posing as a naked man, spying on her from the roof. Jay is the bait and gets into the pool. When she finally spots the entity, it appears as her father. In the chaos, Paul accidentally wounds Yara, but then shoots the entity in the head, supposedly killing it. After heading home, Paul and Jay finally have sex. The end.